This is LiR Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel. Everybody, and welcome along to this edition of the panel on LiRmedia.tv. And don't forget to press the red button on the bottom right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. It's free. Despite what other people might tell you, it's free on this channel, and we're delighted with the figures we have, and really delighted to be back. This is the first edition of the panel for 2022, and Alison O'Reilly, great to see you again. Hail and hearty.
Happy New Year, everybody. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Alison.
Good evening, John Lonergan down there in the city by the Lee, the capital of Ireland. Good evening, John.
Real capital, yeah. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year to everybody.
You do, John. And Mary, it's great to have you along again.
Thanks.
Now, the program, we're just going to open up with our own personal impressions of that. Look, it really now, in my opinion, there are no words that we can say, in my opinion, that will bring solace and really understanding and appreciation of her life and the awful tragedy for her family. No words, in my opinion. However, anyway, Mary, I think you had her in one of your modules in Mary I.
I did. I taught her in just before she graduated for her in Mary Immaculate, and it's just absolutely incredible to believe that. I mean, she's only teaching now. She's only teaching since March of, I think it was 2021. So she's really only a relatively new teacher, full of life, full of ideas, full of hope, and all of that taken from her because of, and I suppose I saw a poster on Facebook and I put it up as my temporary profile picture. She just went for a run. And that's really all she did when you think that she got up that morning, went to school, taught her little first class students, Holy Communion class students, and went for a run. And that was the last thing she did. And I try not to think, I suppose, of the seconds before she turned that corner, how, little knowing that those were the last seconds of her life. It's just unimaginable, Pat. It really is unimaginable. She was so full of life in the class, and to think that, and she was so full of life anyway. She was involved so much in the music industry, in the trad music. She was involved in GAA. She was an all-round involved person, perfect really for a primary teacher,
And John, what do you think? I mean, when these things happen, I mean, obviously they're rare enough, but every tragedy takes on its own life, in Ireland. And,
it's tragic. It's unbelievable to know that somebody going out, as Mary said, just for a run, and to be murdered in that callous way, I find it very, 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 very worrying that that there's people out there. I don't know what the latest, and I believe the first guy was let go, but they have somebody else in mind. But it's horrific. And the family, it's the family you have to think of, I mean, we all feel it ourselves personally, but my God, to get a knock at the door and to have guards tell you that your child was murdered in the middle of the day must be horrific.
And Alison, we don't want you to read out the article for us that you've penned for tomorrow's Sunday paper, but yourself, I mean, obviously being a woman, and I don't know myself, what can one say more about it? I mean, there are different stories about the person who was really strongly in the frame for it, as being a person with serious mental problems and a drug addict. I don't know how true those are. We're not saying it for definite here. How true these are, I don't know.
Look, the Gardaí are waiting to question a new suspect. As we know, another suspect who had absolutely nothing to do with the case was taken in and unfortunately named and wrongfully shamed on social media. And it's dreadful when something like that happens. And I'm not trying to take away from what happened to Aisling, because it's, I mean, nobody can get their head around it. You know, I've been to the vigil at the Dáil where, you know, the streets around Leinster House just came to a standstill, with people just numb and in shock that something like this would happen. And it is rare. It is rare. I know there's a lot of violence against women in Ireland, but a random attack, and we think it's a random attack, is rare. But it's brutal. It's callous. It's shocking.
It is rare.
Why? Like, why did something like that happen? It's just awful. It's awful. And I would have known Josephine Pender very well, where, you know, the murder took place in Fiona Pender's Way down in Tullamore. And I was only speaking to a mutual friend today, and I said, I'm actually glad Josephine's not here to see that, because she would have died. She just would not have been able for that at all. It's just so sad, the whole thing.
No, we're not going to speculate on the manner of her death, because we don't know 100%, and really we don't want to be adding to the trauma and the grief of the family, because God knows, I have no idea how they're surviving, but they have their own things to deal with. Because, as I said, I mean, despite some of the stories, particularly I got to hear the RT1 program, a bit of it there a while ago on the player, the Katie Hannon program. I know really a journalist of her standing should have more cop on than to go male bashing. And the two guests she had on at the top of the show, all men are not bastards, all men are not monsters. And there was a text into the RT program to remind her that we are recording this program. Some organization, I'll forget it. And really, we don't want any hatred incited against men, because the vast majority of men are good men.
Absolutely. And I was actually being interviewed a couple of days ago on LMFM, and I immediately said, well, no, it's not fair. That's not fair to do that, because I have a good father, I have a good brother, I'm rearing two sons. They know how to treat women with respect. I have a young lad going on 21 this year, and I know he wouldn't behave like that, because that's not how I reared him. And if he did, you'd have to knock me down with a feather, because he just doesn't behave like that. And I do understand that we have to look at these things, but you know, I'm never going to go in for the male bashing thing and all men are bad, because the majority of men in my life are very good.
I know, yeah, and all this about culture change, and I don't even know what they mean by that, and I'm not sounding ignorant or blasé.
Well, as I said, Pat, this is not a movement. This is a bereavement.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And the latest Garda figures from 2020, there was 32 male victims. That's 84.2%, and 6 female victims in 2020 of either murder and manslaughter in Ireland, according to data from the Garda Síochána. Both the number and proportion of victims of murder or manslaughter who were female has fallen in each of the last 3 years. So in 2017, it was 11 female victims. I know one is too much. 2018. 8 female victims, and 2019, 6 female victims in 2020. So, I mean, no, that is no connection with the horrific murder in Tullamore, but just statistically speaking, it is thankfully, in one way, not very common, but when it does happen,
it's terrible.
The consequences of the murder, I think we should be concentrating on, because the fear of young girls and young women, especially, because physically women are not as strong as men. That's a physiology, and we know that. So therefore, it is easy for me to talk as a man. I walked through woods on my own, and I walked home in the pitch dark, where I could hardly see my hand in front of me when I was younger, out in the village where we lived, 6 miles from Mallow to where I lived outside the town. There was no public lighting. But I was never afraid, if you follow my drift. I was never afraid.
Oh, Pat, I've always done that, and I'm still not afraid. The only thing is I don't really go out late at night, but I was forever in trouble for that. I walked everywhere, didn't care what time it was, never cared. And my parents used to be petrified. And even when I moved to Dublin, I'd walk home through lanes and everything after work. Didn't care. Wasn't afraid, didn't care. And now I'm kind of like, my God, Alison, you really did take your life in your own hands there. You just don't know. You just don't know.
I mean, it's sad, I suppose. I mean, of course, Alison, I know you're probably aware of the horrific murder. Was it Monday of that father of two outside his own front door when he was shot dead, and not to take away from Alison Murphy. We didn't have any vigil for him.
Yeah, I know. It's you know, as I said, these are bereavements. It's not a movement, and I have been. While I completely understand, violence is not acceptable on any side, you know, and random violence. I mean, it's just left us all with so many questions and shock and horror. But I don't feel it's our right to take away from the family and to turn it into a movement, because they are grieving a horrific murder, and a murder that's made international headlines. I mean, right now they can be in just shock and horror.
And as we say, not to prolong it, John, of course, there was a vigil in Cork as well, and it was they were expecting a couple of hundred, but a couple of thousand turned up.
Yeah.
And that's I suppose a testament to the horrific, I suppose to the nature of the people. We don't want this. We do not agree with this. We don't want this to happen anymore. That's what they're saying. Obviously, as a tribute to the poor misfortunate that's dead, but they're also saying, stop this, you know. And politicians talking about laws. We have plenty of laws, for God's sake, you know. That, you know, really, there should be more money put into mental health and stuff like that, and not having people on the streets, if it proves to be true, not having people on the streets who are not supposed to be out in the open, if it proves true to the early indications of the person who committed this. I hope it's not true, and if it is, it's still an indictment of our lack of mental service. So we spoke about that on this show anyway, about
but
that.
you know, like, you know, mental health or otherwise, you know, this is just not okay. It's just not okay.
I couldn't believe it, because I know that area of Tullamore well from my travels, and I actually do know that area very well.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
You know, and to be familiar with some place that you were used to walking down, you know, my kids are small, just putting yourself there again, I just, of course, at that time of day, there weren't many people around, strangely enough, you know.
No. It's just so sad. I felt so sad when I was at that vigil yesterday. The absolute thousands of people, thousands, and you could hear a pin drop, and people were just sobbing quietly, and I just was like, God Almighty, you know, this is horrifying. It was horrifying, but I don't feel it should be a time to bash men.
So, is it the Sunday Mirror?
Sunday Mirror tomorrow,
Sunday Mirror, John, tomorrow. Don't forget to buy the Sunday Mirror, lads. Alison O'Reilly will have her paragraph or two on it. And I know I don't mean to be belittled, but you know, she's well able. I tell you, anybody who's familiar with Alison's work, you know, she will do justice to that. And I have no doubt about that. But the panel is a show here on LiRmedia.tv. Tell all your friends about us. No, we're going to move along anyway. After that, as I said, yes, you're going to go on, but we're going to move along with. Are we coming to the end of the virus? Now, I must stay on this program. I was in hospital. I had a virus before Christmas, so I think I know what I'm talking about. But are we coming to the end of the virus insofar as there's really no one dying now? I'm not being blasé about it. There's very few. The numbers in hospital are way down. So,
and I think.
Yeah, John?
Sorry, Pat. Somebody told me at the very start of this that pandemics normally last 2 years. And this one is going to be the same. I'm looking at this Dr. John Campbell on YouTube. I'm watching him since before Christmas. And he's an English pharmacist or something like that anyway. and I turn him on every night, or every second night, and everything he has predicted has come true. And he said that the height of this Omicron will finish at the end of January, the start of February, and start coming down, and it'll be totally gone by the second week of April.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and
Yeah,
if you check this guy out, he is so placid to listen to. He's been triple vaxxed. He is not anti-vax. He's not pro-vax. He's just telling it as it is.
Yeah.
And he said, the guy, everything he has said that I've listened to him has come true.
Yeah.
And he told, I think the WHO came out with some statement during the week, and he actually had said this statement prior to Christmas. He had foretold what way the virus was going to go, and he was telling us before Christmas that Omicron will take over Delta, and that's how Delta was gone. How Delta goes, because Omicron overtake. And he shows you all the graphs from each country, each different areas.
Yes.
He's fascinating to watch.
Wow.
Yeah, you get him on YouTube. That's
Campbell.
John Campbell, Dr. John Campbell.
Scottish name.
Yeah.
Alison, do you think it's dissipating somewhat and going away?
Oh, I hope John Campbell is right.
Yeah.
As a journalist, I am sick of it. I'm sick of it. As a mother, I'm sick of it. As your ordinary Joe Soap, I'm sick of it. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick of it. That's all I can keep saying. And wearing that mask is the most annoying thing.
It's the worst thing ever, Alison. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I find it so wrong. I find it so wrong that we're being told where and when to wear it. And it should be up to each one. I think we said this on the program before. Well, I know I definitely said it. It should have been up to each one of us individually to look after ourselves and our families.
Yeah,
and
I agree. Yeah.
If the government had, instead of all this costly PCR testing, if the government had sent out the antigen testing free to each household, the cost of this would be millions less, maybe $1 trillion less from what it's cost with the PCR. And everyone then is responsible for your own. You come home, you test yourself. We do it here at home all the time. My son does it all the time, right? Tests himself so he can go out now. He can go out and go to a club and go anywhere. He's tested.
Yeah.
No problem. He comes home, he tests himself.
Yeah.
And if we all had done that from the start, there'd have been less opportunity for it to spread, or for whatever way they wanted it to happen. I don't know. I
think they're really good points, John, because right at the beginning we didn't know what we were dealing with. So you can understand the big power speeches and the reassurance and the PUP and all of this. But then questions started to ask, like, how did we miss all the people in the nursing homes? I mean, that is just horrendous what happened in the nursing homes. I find that I've never had anybody in a nursing home, and I am guilty of not thinking about it at the time. We were all thinking about ourselves and our children. And then when they were nearly like hundreds were wiped out, thousands, I thought, my God, oh my God. And my brother was one of the people that went in to clean the places out, and he was in all the gear. And I remember thinking, that's amazing work that you went and did that, because people who normally do it wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then as time went on, why weren't we wearing masks, only to be told a year and a bit later, you better wear a mask? We were told antigen testing is not reliable, but it's better than nothing. And as part of a whole approach, we should have had so we were very slow to jump in there. And then on the other hand, I say personal responsibility is hugely important. I fully agree with you there, John. But also, what country did get it right? Like, it's all okay to bash the government, and I'm not politically affiliated to anybody, but it's all okay to bash and throw money at this and more of this and more of that. But what country did get it right?
Well, from what I've seen, sorry, no, guys, if we're cutting out the rest of the people. From what I've seen from John Campbell, Sweden had herd immunity from the very start.
Yeah.
And what's happening now in all the countries? It's herd immunity.
Yeah,
And
that's
if you listen to John Campbell, this is what he says. He actually said it, everybody in the world is going to get Omicron. He actually said this. I mean, this wasn't a thing that only 95% will get it. So whether you were vaccinated or unvaccinated, you were going to get Omicron.
Yeah.
No, you and me might have got a head cold. You understand? But that was classed as the symptoms of a head cold was classed as Omicron. So that's why the cases are so high.
And we don't even have the full figures of how many. They say maybe 200,000 maybe had it. So there's not enough tests to know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of people.
Why in the name of God, if there's nothing wrong with you, why are you testing yourself if you're not sick?
Because they have the life frightened out of people. And Alison said it.
There's no need for
We're
it.
all sick and tired of it now.
I know people from my friends in the civil service, if they have a runny nose, they don't go home. I mean, it's just mad. It's mad.
Yeah.
It's completely mad.
I said it to somebody today.
The first doctor that came to me in the hospital after 2 days, when I was after coming on, because it's severe, I'll tell you, it's a severe virus, whatever I had. They said I had COVID, I took the word, but just severe. The virus was bad, I was bad. So I never had anything like it before. And she said to me, have you been vaccinated? And it was a strange question because I was in hospital sick. I said to her, which one did you take? Was it the Pfizer one or was it the AstraZeneca? Moderna? She said, we're not allowed to answer those questions to be unethical. So I said, touche.
Wow.
Brilliant, Pat. Brilliant.
And Pat, do you mind me asking what, like, when I know it was very bad and you don't.
I'm fine. I have loads of antibodies, lads. I can cough and splutter and everything. I'm safe as a house.
Fine for 9 months, is it? But Pat, was it mostly chest, a head, a cough?
No. They were afraid to go into your lungs, and the oxygen level in your blood they were watching would go down, and that causes other. But that's what they were watching. But there's a whole cocktail of antibiotics. But I asked every time when they were putting in the stuff, what is it? And in fairness, the doctor came back and went down through a list and explained it to me. I only just wanted to know. They still had to give it to me. I just wanted to know what was going in.
I was going in, yeah.
The first couple of days I didn't care once it, because I can't explain it, but it's a dreadful, feeling altogether, you know, it's just dreadful.
Tired, kind of tired, lethargic, is it that?
Well, I had no feelings. It's a funny thing that happened to me. I had no feelings in my legs. I was getting worried. I know I was walking.
But you couldn't, wow.
I had no feelings. I used to go down, I used to sit in the armchair and I say to myself, Jesus, they're still there, anyway. But you know, that kind of way, and people have different things, but
yeah.
But there's a lot of people that way. A lot of people are gone very, very tired. And it's something I was talking to a guy today. I said two things to a guy today. I said, where's the man flu gone? Right? Where's the man flu gone?
Yeah.
Right? So and then I said, what I've noticed, and I don't know whether any of you have noticed this or not now, but everybody seems to have slowed down.
Yeah.
Do you not notice, like, people who were walking, power walking, and I don't know, the whole world seems to have slowed down. And I believe it's the bloody vaccines, because I was never like this. I was never so, exactly what Pat is saying, tired, go to sit down, can't get up.
Yeah.
And I'm still feeling the same.
The first 2 days that I came out of hospital, I had to go to bed every night about 8 o'clock because I was just wiped. And I was doing nothing, only sitting by the fire, counting my money, counting my money that I didn't have. But, the disquieting thing for me, just when we don't have it completely, is the doctor came in to see me and said, you can go home now today, Pat, and that's grand, blah. I came in the morning. Well, I knew I was going home because I felt great. I felt good, and I felt I could myself. You know yourself instinctively, but he said, I signed it now, saying, and I was talking to him. He was actually some Douglas, the doctor, the last guy that came to see me. So I said to him, I'm vaccinated. I got my I got my question in first. The same line as the other doctor. They're not allowed to say it. I said, fair enough. But he said, I said, you're giving me anything. You know when you're in hospital with some ailment and you get this, you get something and take this drink once a day or whatever. Nothing. So I just said to him, if you don't mind me asking you, I said, because I knew I was run down. I had lost weight. I dropped 2 sizes in my clothes.
Wow, that's a lot.
In my trousers. So I said, I knew I had to get something to build me up. And I wasn't going to go back on the drink again to do that, you know. But I said to the doctor, what will I take? He was a bit perplexed. He said, God, I don't know. You better see your own doctor about that, you know. And he was treating me in hospital. He knew what was going into me. And I almost, I was on a course of one big, huge tablet. I had 3 of them left to take. But apart from that, that was the end of it.
Wow. Goodness me. Yeah.
I had plenty of chicken soup, plenty of broth.
I think they just don't know.
No. And they're afraid to say anything now, aren't they? They're just afraid.
Boiled eggs in the morning and toast, soup in the middle of the day, and shepherd's pie or bacon and cabbage. Just a little bit of joke, you know. But myself, my father is 91. That's what he's eaten all his life. So he's grand,
yeah.
You know?
I think I'm the only one in work who hasn't got it. I mean, I do regular antigen tests. Anytime I've had like kind of flu-like symptoms, I've done the tests. I've got the flu jab, the whole lot. No COVID.
Yeah, but you've had a flu, yeah.
I've had the flu. Well, no, I suffer terribly with the flu all the time. Like
really?
Winter, I've had pneumonia and everything. I always get the flu jab early, but I've been feeling there's a flu there, dying to come out in all its glory, and I've been vaccinated. So I've had a bit of, I think I'm getting the flu. I'm not sure, and I test and test and test. And so far, no positive. But I don't know if I've had COVID. I've had nothing to show me I've had it.
We're talking about, we're just asking the question, Mary. And did you finish all the bottle of vodka while you were away?
You know, the internet, because I'm using my laptop. And I'm using it in the station. Because of that, I forgot that I had to actually change internet services. And no matter what I did, it wasn't accepting it on MacBook. Eventually it did.
Anyway, we're just asking the question, Mary, are we coming to the end really of the pandemic?
God, I hope so.
Well, we all hope so.
I just hope so. I don't know. I just think there are people who are so scared of the next step. I think it's almost in many cases it's almost like that Stockholm syndrome, where you feel safe with your captor, and we're at home and we're locked in, and there are people who just don't know how to take the next step and are afraid of the next step, which is believing that everything is, or that we've got to get back to normality. What's the option? Do we stay cocooned forever? I mean, there's people dying of cancer and dying and are on medical lists forever for conditions that, and there's people committing suicide or taking their own lives and suffering with depression. There's so much that has to be. People have to just get on with their lives now.
Well, Boris Johnson said that
Sorry, John wants to say something.
Dispensing with all the regulations gone by 1st of February.
What did you say, John?
I've been watching, I watch a lot of sport, right? And I've been watching sport from all over the world. And, you know, I'm watching it in England an awful lot. And people are just getting on with it, you know? They're getting on, like America especially. And we're hearing reports here that, you know, they're all sky high and everything. I'm after watching American football, baseball, you name it. There's no mess there. Everyone is getting on with life. So we need to do it. And I mean, I think I said this way back long, Mary, regarding Irish dancing festivals. The Americans just got on with it. They got a way around it and done it.
The
But we
American,
think-
you know, we're like children looking in at a sweet shop. When
Yeah.
you look at England and you look at America and they all running their dance competitions, and we don't even know if the World Dancing Championships are going to be held, or if they, you know,
And they're being held
the
already.
Irish nationals are going to be held, or well, it looks like the Irish. I don't know whether
The
the
Irish
Irish
nationals and the All Ireland. Sorry, Mayor, Irish nationals and All Irelands are cancelled,
That's right, yeah.
right?
And you know, I mean, it's you look at the All Ireland, you look at the hurling the other day, and they were on top of each other cheering. They had photographs taken and they were all hugging each other. And they're all going to be meeting people from other teams next week and other counties and you know, you can't say, but they're in their bubble, but they're only in their bubble as long as they're playing they're with their own team. But when they're with other teams and they're jumping on other teams, and I think that's fantastic.
Mary, we know that an awful lot of these things that we take, and I'm not belittling the seriousness that we had for 2 years in pockets of the disease, the virus, but right now, really, now is the time to just get on with it.
But I do have a problem with, Pat, and I would like to say it, as I have a problem with the divide and conquer sort of mentality of, you know, almost treating people who have chosen for many reasons, whether it's a family conditions that they're afraid of vaccination or because of previous health issues after vaccinations. There's many people have many different reasons, and they're almost being treated as pariahs. And we can see it with, I suppose we can see it with the Djokovic case. I mean, there's one of the healthiest men in the world who's recovered from COVID, has huge amounts of antibodies in his blood, and he's been treated like a leper.
Well, it's become a bit of a political thing, though, isn't it? It's gone a bit political, all that.
Oh, that's political, Alison, you're right. That's a political, because of the elections coming up, that's Morrison being political.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was allowed in. He was given a visa. He was given, whatever happened, aside from that, he was given a visa. He was given 2 medical exemptions. And last year they were allowing people in who had medical vaccines and or had COVID. And this year suddenly it was removed from him. I just worry that people who have actually made a choice for their own, with their own worries, not people who are not anti-vaccine, who have had many vaccines down through the years, but are reluctant to take this one until they know a little bit more about it. They're being ostracized and vilified. And I mean, he has raised funds alone. He has raised funds to get vaccines to poorer nations. And he's not anti-vaccine, he's just pro-choice. And there are many people who are pro-choice. There are also many people who have taken the vaccine and 3 vaccines who are pro-choice, and not mandating something, to me, is very, very close to dictatorship.
It won't happen here, thank God.
I hope.
I think the issue with him, though, Mary, was documents were, there were mistakes on documents, and, you know, I didn't stop here and I stopped there, and then
that's true, but
then images appeared of him, you know, mingling in public events when he had tested positive. Now I know he's given a statement after statement, and you know, at the end of the day, he is a multi-award-winning world champion, and he should be allowed. He should be allowed to defend his title.
He should.
It's become so messy,
politicized. It has.
I just think. I mean, he'll know on Monday, really, isn't it? Monday,
well, you know, tonight at 10, the case is on for people who are interested in this thing. Mary spoke to the Serbian honorary consul in Ireland during the week, and he's originally from Kosovo, the Serbian honorary consul, very affable.
He's funny, though. He said that Novak doesn't know when to shut his mouth. That's the problem. He said, that. But the thing about it is, in Serbia, if you test positive, you're not obliged to
Isolate.
To isolate. You
But
know,
listen,
it's not
listen.
compulsive to isolate. So,
Except
you
you're
know,
sick, obviously.
Alison, you were just saying there now about it being politics and all that. Look what's happening in our own country.
Gosh, I know.
In Galway at the start at the hotel, and they didn't give a care about it. And then
No.
you transfer now a year and a half later, and you have Boris Johnson and all his party.
Well, Simon Coveney was at an ease up in the Department of Foreign
Yeah,
Affairs
well.
when they got to see the
Yeah, but
council.
it's all forgotten about.
The Gardaí were contacted, in fairness, and said, we're not investigating that.
Yeah.
But in this country, we tend to move on fairly quick.
Oh yeah.
Fairly quick, and we let them away with things. I
Yeah.
know it's a big scandal and somebody has to resign and all this kind of thing, but it's a year later and people are like, what's Golfgate?
Well,
Yeah.
Alison, it's a very small company
Exactly.
because Simon Coveney's brother, Rory Coveney, is the advisor to the Director General of RTE.
Yeah,
So
but
there might be a story there, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know. The panel is the program.
there you
And
go now, Alison. There's a story for you.
Tell all your friends about us, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel by pressing the red button on the bottom right hand side. Old Irish sayings, are they gone out of fashion, Alison? Are they gone out of vogue? Up around County Loud when you were growing up, did you hear any old Irish sayings like, if you jump off that wall and break your two legs, don't come running to me?
Oh, that was said all the time. That was said all the time. Were you born in a barn? Were you born in a field? Do you think I came up the liffey on a bubble? But my favorite, and Hazel Nolan only said it to me the other day because I was interviewing Antoinette Keegan, one of the Stardust survivors, and they're going through loads of trouble still. But anyway, as I was doing the interview with her, I didn't realize Hazel was listening, and I said, "Well, you know yourself, Antoinette, a quiet priest never got his parish." And she interrupted the interview and said, "Alison O'Reilly, I never heard that saying before. I'm totally stealing that." I love that one because I always say, if you want something done, shout your mouth off.
My mother used to say that. It's just after reminding me what you just said there, Alison. A shut mouth catches no flies.
Exactly. I love that.
That made the road rise above you. Of course, John, down the clock we had our own. Are you jagging?
you're jagging, yeah.
Jagging, what's that?
How are you doing?
Are
No, you're going over someone.
Are you jagging?
Oh, really?
Jagging,
Yeah, jagging tonight. I have no idea. It's just a euphemism for I don't know what, but it became a saying. I remember when I was in the army in the 1970s, early late 60s, early 70s, are you jagging? And then, of course, you'd meet, I was saying to lads this story, it's a true story. You'd meet someone at a dance, and at the end of the night, you might be half drunk as well, and they might be, and you'd call in and stuff, and you say, I'll meet you tomorrow night at the clock, Rocher Store's clock, you see? Of course, you'd be all spruced up, you'd be sober then. You'd be going down to Rocher Store's clock, and you'd be trying to remember, Jesus, well, I remember her because I was half drunk last night. A whole line of people down there waiting for people, that's because everybody met everybody. And you'd be walking down slowly the footpath. Maybe she'd recognize me and she'd put out the crowd and walk towards me.
What is it? Which one?
Yeah.
Which one?
Do you know when we were growing up, there was always sayings. You know, there was always someone would in the group wouldn't have the courage to ask you out, so he'd send his friend to ask you out, and you'd go, or he'd say, "Will you go? Will you give him a chance?"
Will you give him a chance?
You give him a chance. That was he'd send the friend. So that or the best compliment you could get from a guy here in Limerick was, "You're rapid looking."
No.
You know, that was the best compliment you could. If you were told that, you'd go away actually beaming for the day. You know?
You're rapid looking.
You're rapid. She's rapid.
Oh, totally. In Drogheda it was, "Will you shift him?" That was it.
Yeah.
Or would you like to wake up with a crowd around you?
Oh.
That's if somebody was really, if they were really causing trouble and you really wanted to put them in your place, would you like to wake up with a crowd around you?
Yeah. Or what's another one is beauty doesn't boil the kettle.
Oh, I never
Never
heard that now.
Never heard that.
Well, my mother's friend, her
Don't marry a
husband.
beautiful woman, marry a practical woman.
Yes, practical, because the beauty goes and she'll have no skills.
My mum's
You have
friend.
to put on the Pond School cream all the time.
My mum's husband said to her friend one day, beauty is only skin deep after all. And she looked at him straight in the face and she said, I want to know who peeled you.
What's the other one? A good word never broke a tooth. I reckon, I suppose that's something to do with it's better just to talk something out than to resort to violence, I suppose. You know, I don't know. But a lot of the old sayings are gone. The generation now don't know them. I'm not aware of them.
But this COVID has ruined all conversations and everything. Yeah. I mean, I think I said it the last time we were on. You know, you go meeting somebody now that you haven't seen for a while, and all you're talking about is COVID.
Yeah.
Do you know all the people?
You find that, Alison, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I have to jump in the car and do interviews here, there, and everywhere. And the first thing is, well, COVID. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sick of people asking, are you vaccinated? It's almost like a right. But and I am so sick, Alison, of seeing posters up with people announcing treble vaxxed.
Yeah.
Yay.
No.
It's almost like people are trying to. It's almost like a rite of passage now with people.
Some sort of
they have to announce
victory
their worthiness.
Yeah, and actually it should be
your medical
a private matter.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, your health is private, and the idea that you're supposed to tell somebody your private health condition to get egg and chips is beyond me.
Yeah. No, it's very true.
People have it on their profile pictures. Treble vaxxed.
Oh yeah.
I won't go into pubs. I've only been in one pub since in the last 2 years. Sorry, I tell a lie. I was in another pub that didn't ask for anything, right?
Yeah.
But I went to not a local pub, but it's local enough. But I had frequented it years ago, and this guy was at the door, one of the barmen, and he said, "I want to see yourself. Are you vaxxed?" And I said, "You know something? I'm coming in here for years. And when I come in the door and you were serving me, you never once asked me, did I have AIDS? You never once asked me, did I have any sexual diseases?" And I said, you know, what you're asking is the very same thing, but in a different roundabout way. I said, it's none of your business. It's nobody's business whether I'm vaxxed or not. And I walked away and I left. I didn't go into that pub. Yeah. I mean, the point is, sorry, Mary, the point is, we associated with people for years who, and I don't want to be disgusting, who were probably in the toilet beforehand without washing their hands, came out, handed a €20 or a €20 note over the counter. The bar person caught that money, which was probably fully infected with whatever, put it into the drawer, and the change was handed out, and then that money went back to somebody else afterwards. So, like, it's just, sorry.
I do understand why people are nervous, and I do understand particularly the elderly, but I think it's now gone to the stage where for some people, and I mean, I haven't been past the radio station in 2 years. I haven't gone into a supermarket. When I had COVID, the minute I had COVID, I saw nobody. I really did everything right. But I worry that people are starting to develop Stockholm syndrome over it all. They're terrified of what they know now is COVID lockdown, and that's your safe space. And they're afraid to go. I mean, people will walk past you on the street, and if they see you without a mask, they're almost catapulting to the other side of the street. And a virus is airborne, whether you stand in your own garden for the rest of your life You're not going to avoid it if it's going to, you know, it's like anything else. I don't understand.
Well,
Mary, how
Where's
did
faith gone? Where's
how
faith
did it-
gone and belief that things are going to come right?
we were talking about the mask at the start, right? How in the name of God did everybody catch this airborne virus and yet everyone was wearing masks?
yeah. And
Explain that.
how come the people who are vaccinated are in hospital sick, as three of them are in my ward? Something, well, I live on my own, so I mean, obviously I'd be looking at films and the book or whatever short story. You look to the tried and tested to have a bit of comfort, or your favorite piece of music. I didn't put in music, but one of your favorite films that you might go back to. I know you might have seen it 1,000 times, but you just go back for whatever feeling it gave you. There's a calmness come over. What do you think, Alison? Do you have a favorite film apart from Bambi and all of the kids?
Well, I suppose it depends on the mood I'm in. Like if I'm sort of exercised about something, I'll watch Braveheart. I've watched it so many times because it's so inspiring. He's brilliant in it. And then I love the love story in Walk the Line, even though the pair of them had such a difficult time. June Carter and Johnny Cash, but I love the love story in it. I do like that.
In which?
Yeah, I love that.
Walk the Line. Walk the Line was fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. I love the whole redemption, and she supports him, and the two of them are so talented. And
Reese Witherspoon is just. And you know something, Alison? She took lessons for. I know. Do you remember the scene when she was on stage on her own when she was singing one of those old Maybelline Carter songs? Oh God, Wildwood Flower.
Yeah, it was very difficult for her, like, and she did sing it in front of everybody.
Did the washboard with it, and it's a more traditional Appalachian song, but it's a fantastic version of it. Really, when you listen to her version and the original, it's every bit as good as it.
Well,
I thought she was fantastic in it, and I like for the thriller. I love Inception and Shutter Island. I loved those films. Loved them.
You know, you talk about Reese Witherspoon in
Legally Blonde.
Legally Blonde. My cousin, when she graduated in law and she had her first court case, she had the Burberry briefcase and she had the high heels, and she's tall anyway, she's 5'9", and she wore high heels probably for the first time, and she went into Limerick court and she went to sit down the seat, and the guy beside her had actually pulled the seat just as she was about to sit down. Didn't realize, pulled the seat, her two legs went up in the air. The judge just calling her by her name said, "Are we ready now?" Start the case. The whole court just burst out laughing, and she's Snow White blonde. And she said it was like a scene from Legally Blonde.
And she stood up and she said, "I was meant to do that."
She just didn't know what to do, and the guy that she was defending was standing there, and he couldn't. She said the whole court, it broke the ice.
I bet.
Her expense.
And John, have you a film that you like to watch, or are you easy?
Do you know? No, I don't. Pat, I don't just turn on a film if somebody recommends anything or a series or anything like that. But anytime I just listen to a bit of music.
Yeah.
I love the old, as I said before, I love the 50s, 60s music, and just sit down and listen to the songs and the words, and it just.
Liam died there, the Spectre lady from that group during the week. She died. I haven't it written down in front of me as I should have. Anyway, Mary, what about your comfort film? I know about the CD.
There's I made a list of them, and The Sound of Music has to be up there. Yeah, I saw The Sound of Music so many times. I probably saw it as probably more times than any one of the characters in it. I even cancelled dates in order to watch it when we didn't have recorders and you couldn't record it. The amount of times I used to make up excuses to watch that. Schindler's List, Escape to Victory, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier with Laurence Olivier and Joan Fontaine, White House Down, all the diehards, and all the Rockies.
I love Rocky. I never watched Die Hard, actually. I've never watched it.
Oh, Die Hard is great. Die Hard is fantastic.
Anyway, my tuppenny halfpenny one is Good Will Hunting.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
I never saw it once.
Great.
Any film with Robin Williams, in my estimation, is really worth the look because
Yes,
he was
really good.
superb, no matter what he
Dead
did.
Poet
What
Society.
else about the man? There was something spiritual about the man, if you want to put it that way. And I just looking back up at the day, 1997, the film was Good Will Hunting.
Oh, yeah, good.
With,
There we go.
Robin Williams, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Minnie Driver. She didn't get enough, Minnie Driver. You know, she was very quirky, but I liked her in that, Minnie
Yes,
Driver, you
yes,
know.
yeah.
And Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, it sort of launched their careers. But Good Will Hunting is very good. Network, going back further, some of you might remember Network,
No.
1976, with Faye Dunaway, Peter Finch, William Holden, Robert Duvall. I have it all written down here. I wouldn't remember that. 1976. It's a film, if you come across it. Really now, Alison, lads. Network. It's just a superb film.
Okay.
Involved in the media, whether it's the periphery or anything. It's really fantastic. Sidney Lumet was the director, but Network is just superb.
Okay.
And
Do you know another film I love is Stepmom.
Any nice poem by Francis Ledwidge does me fine. Go on.
Stepmom with Julie.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, that was good film.
Yeah, and a very, very, very enjoyable film to watch. Actually, quite a lot of films I like, and I'll watch them over and over and over again.
Yeah, like I've watched The Green Mile, and I've started watching the Green Book and stuff. That was on over Christmas, and I sat down to watch it, and a couple of those. Do you think the minute it opens, you say, you know, I'm going to sit down and watch this? I was going to bed, but now I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, well, that's me with the Die Hard movies and
I've never seen them. Yeah,
White House Down and the Die Hard.
Well, I was down with my dad, and I'm not blaming my dad if he ever listens or sees this program. Christmas, he has no Wi-Fi, so we're stuck with
RT.
Well, God forgive me. I was giving my brother a break. I was staying in my dad's house with my dad. My brother lives 2 doors down, who's his minder, but Jesus, he wanted to see that's why he came back a day early. He wanted to see Mrs. Brown's Boys, lads.
Oh no.
Oh my God, is there a worst program in the history?
I am trying to find the comment button to tell him to shut up.
It's an appalling program.
It does really well. It does really. I mean, they're on.
It's gone beyond being funny now. It's. I think it's past the sell by date. I used to like it. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, Christmas Eve. God,
But you know, I don't mind it because I think I have great admiration for Brendan because, you know, he does a lot for charity. He's a very honorable guy, and every one of his family and friends are involved in it. And I think, you know, he's not doing harm to anyone, and he's trying to make a living. And he went through a very hard time. What, Pat?
The comedy of a day of a man dressed up as a woman is gone. Really, it's from the 50s.
If it was Robin Williams, you know, in Mrs. Doubtfire.
But Alison, you mentioned Mrs. Brown's Boys on RT and it was on BBC. The figures are gone through the floor.
Are they?
They went through the floor.
See, I don't watch it. And
I was forced. Well, I just either watch it or go up in the kitchen and play with the music. I didn't want to do that by the fire, but I had my phone with me anyway.
I can just imagine he complained the whole way through it and ruined it probably for your father or Billy.
My dad didn't care. He was, you know, it was his time to go to bed anyway, and I was hoping, Jesus, he will fall asleep before it is over, and I can watch a National Geographic channel or something. But he did fall asleep. Sorry, Dad. But no, we've got off the track. But So our favourite comfort film or a book, right? A bit of music, John. You like the 50s and 60s?
Oh yeah.
Well, that
I
would be
just
one.
like,
Yeah.
it just, when I have a play and I just sit back and relax and just go into my own world and
Yeah.
listen to the words of the songs, not like what they're writing now, you know.
Yeah.
Well, all you have to do now is if you're a lady, not being sexist about it, is have a torn blouse, a torn skirt, and loads of flying wind and a ditty. That's it. A bit of a tune.
For anyone who wants to know what a ditty is, it's a song.
You better explain.
in case anyone from outside of Ireland is wondering what is he talking about. A ditty, D-I-T-T-Y, is a little song here in Ireland.
Go back down, finish the vodka.
Oh, that's a lovely little ditty. Well, the older Pat, you're really starting to show your age.
Okay, John, we're going to put you on the spot now. We'll all join in to finish this edition of the panel from Alison O'Reilly and yourself and myself. We'll join in. A blast of something before we go away.
Well, what did I sing the last time? Teenage in Love, is it? She was only 16, and I loved her so. She was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to know. Oh, why did I give my heart so fast? I'll never let it happen again. For I was a mere lad of 16. I've aged the years since then. Everybody, she was only 16, only 16. And I loved her so. She was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to know. That's all you're getting.
Okay, John. Well, from this
You should have sang the banks.
from this edition of the panel from Alison, and don't forget to buy the Sunday Mirror tomorrow, where Alison will have the nice article on
the latest updates.
Latest. From John Lonergan, Alison O'Reilly, and Mary Honan, and myself, till we meet again, lads. It's been a blast. Thank you very much, and stay safe. And good night now, and God bless.
God bless everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
This is LiR Media. To whom it concerns, welcome to the panel.